Hydration is the thing these days. You can't ollie. They say it turns ice into powder. It doesn't. It ain't no gutless fish. We're going from COVID to aliens. That's when you hit your sweet spot. I just literally announced the snowboard a couple days ago. Working on the snowboard for a few years. It's an adaptation from the Orca, which become a really popular directional board. The last couple years we've been learning a lot from the tight radial side cut, wide. It's kind of like a fish. The reason it's called an Orca is because it ain't no gutless fish. It's got whale-tail technology, as we put it. And it's a directional board that rides like a fish, but it's not gutless. You actually have a second joint. You have a second knee with a tail. That's kind of the point. With a just straight like swallowfish, no tail fish, you can't ollie. And you can't, suck up landings, obstacles, features, etc. So we went back to the drawing board and I had a board called the Gold Member, which was my directional twin, a board that I designed for the Supernatural course up in Baldface. And it was an amazing board, but after riding the Orca for many years, I kind of retooled my thoughts around what the perfect directional twin board needed to be. And we completely retooled the tail on this. I mean, it's essentially an Orca, a tiny bit pulled in because you have longer running length. And surface area really matters with these boards, and so we pulled it in just a tiny bit, not to get too crazy with surface area. And essentially, the infamous component with the Orca board is it's got this almost skate-inspired kick tail. And so we did away with that tail, moved our final contact point about an inch forward to make up for the added volume in the tail area. And this board looks like a directional twin, but it rides like a directional board because the end of the contact, both on the tail camber and on the side cut, end basically where the Orca does. And all of this, you don't feel it when you're riding goofy, when you're riding regular. But when you go and switch, which is what this is designed for, it's totally there, you're supported, it's like you have a second nose. And this board was basically designed for natural selection style of riding. This board's got XC2, which basically is a fancy way of saying camber from the foot to the nose, rocker between the feet, camber from the back foot to the tail. The modification with this, again, is that the board actually ends right here. And all this is just for when you go switch in soft snow. Libtech boards have magna traction, which is a serrated edge, and the point to those subtle bumps is, essentially giving you more contact points with these pressure points. It's kind of the idea of like a hockey skate. Hockey skate, super nimble, stops super fast because it's about just those pressure points instead of distributing the forces over a very long, singly connected edge. This way you can lose part of the board if you hit bumps or chunder. You can lose part of the board and you still have these pressure points that help lock you into a turn. They say it turns ice into powder. It doesn't, but it does make it a lot easier to carve and stop on hard snow. Graphics is always a huge part. I love being able to work with different artists. This graphic, work with Mike Parillo on, a guy who I've worked on many projects together with. And for years I've been wanting to do an alien board, alien conspiracy board. And lo and behold, this coming summer, we're going from COVID to aliens, so it's timed perfectly. Trying to empower us. They're not scary. They'll tell you they're scary, but no, they're homies. Being confident and good about the kit that you have makes a huge difference. Even riding inspired art. Having gear that you are attached to both sentimentally and physically, that's when you hit your sweet spot with equipment in the mountains.
Libtech makes